My name is Frédéric Basso. I am a former student from the department in economics, law and management at École normale supérieure. And then I did a national competitive exam, so the aggregation in economics and management. And afterwards, I did a PhD in consumer research with an orientation towards psychology and neurosciences. And afterwards, I had a position as a maître de conférence, which we will call in English assistant prof. And then once you are tenured, we call that associate professor in management. And I moved afterwards to the London School of Economics and Political Science. I joined the Department of Psychology, which at the beginning was called Social Psychology and is now called the Department of Psychological and Behavioral Science. And I am an assistant professor in economic psychology. So I moved from a background from economics, law and management towards something that is more psychological, even if I keep like some connections to some form of management or research that is oriented towards the consumer. And I believe that actually the background that we had at École normale supérieure, that I had, and it's a feeling that is shared across the board with some of my former classmates, is that it's very beneficial what we did, because it gives us like very high standard in terms of reasoning. So now about international research. I have various questions that I'm going to address. The first one is why? Why do international research? I think the answer is rather obvious. Nowadays, it's extremely difficult to escape English when you work in research. And by default, we expect from you as an academic to be aware of what is going on in the field. And the field is structured by journals that are mostly written in English. It's not the case of every discipline, of course, and some disciplines are fully in English. Some disciplines have journals in French. For instance, in management or in law, you will have various journals in French. But overall, the trend is towards English, and I think it's necessary if you want to apply to grants, for instance, or if you want to build collaborations, to work in English at some point. So the first reason why do some international research is that you improve your English and you work with people from different backgrounds, and that's going to benefit your research. And the question now is how? How are you going to do international research? It's not that straightforward, or actually it can be straightforward or not. It can be straightforward if you start collaborating with people. So you need to approach some colleagues who are working in a field that is close to yours. Usually academics are happy to hear about people who are actually reading their work and where they can have an exchange on their research. So that's something that is usually very welcomed by people. That said, then to move to the collaboration side, it might be a bit more difficult, because beyond the exchange, then it requires to develop your study, to design your approach, or to clarify some hypothesis or the theoretical background that you want to use, or the results that you would like to have. And so that might require from you to work more closely with the people, and that might be with a visiting, for instance, in the department, or that might be also just by a lot of interactions via online platforms, or like, for instance, think about Zoom and so on. That is possible. But if you want to go beyond that, I would say that at some point you need to visit the department or to try to find a job position over there. I'm going to come back afterwards to this. About the what is international research actually? Because we talk about international research, but it might be difficult to figure out what it is. So I mentioned collaboration, but that could also be like to get a research position. And this is where you need to think carefully about the when. Because if you want to get a research position, you need to anticipate in your in your background, but also in your career, when you are going to start working with people. And I think the earlier is the better. you should start thinking about this from your MSc. So maybe between your MSc or during your MSc and between your MSc and your PhD. So you might have, for instance, a research assistantship that you can do. You could also go and visit people during your PhD, and afterwards think about postdoc positions. Sometimes in social sciences, they are not called postdocs, they are called fellowships or research assistantship. So you might consider that, and that helps nurture links with the departments. And also, like a publication is something that takes time. It can be like from 1 to 5 years. So basically, you need to maintain and entertain this relationship if you want it to be something that is productive. Where could you go to do international research? I would say that any place is good because you are going to experience something that is going really to open your mind, and you are going to start challenging some of the, like, how can I say, like principles that you had in mind, and think, oh, actually people don't think like that, and this is how you are to benefit from. I'm going to really like change your way of thinking. What happened to me, because I had to challenge assumptions that I had when I've been exposed to another way of thinking from people from various cultures. That said, if you want to work in English, of course, I will encourage you to go abroad in an English-speaking country, but not necessarily the States or the UK. You could also go, for instance, in the Netherlands, where the academics speak like extremely well English, or in Germany. So, of course, I mean, English-speaking surrounding these countries, they are going to speak Dutch or German. And then who? So when you think about international research, you need to think about who you are going to work with. There are some academics who are more leaning towards international research or not. And so I would say, watch out from the beginning if people are publishing in international journals in English, if you see that they have some international activity, or maybe also if they had some experience in other labs overall, and in other departments. And that could help you then to find a way to get into the international scholarship. So I'm going to stop here. And of course, I missed many things because it's a very big topic. And I am hoping that I will have the opportunity to talk about that with you in the future. But these are just like some thoughts that you could have. Really think about it. If you want to have a career that is an international career, you need to start very early, or you need to be lucky, which actually happened to me. But otherwise, you need to plan this out and anticipate. Thank you very much.